Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett, and today we're going to get into another stock market video, and this one is in margin accounts. So as far as things goes, one thing that you can do in most firms is turn your normal account into a margin account. Now, as far as was minimum requirements, what I found to be the normal across the board minimum requirements is about you need a minimum of $2,500 into the account itself, the investment account itself. Now, turn it into a margin account should not add any fees, but check with that before you go through that. But basically, all a margin account does is it allows you to borrow. It allows you to borrow money or allows you to borrow stocks. So with a margin account, when you're buying something, depending on the entrance and depending on the firm, is depending on how much you can borrow. So that means instead of buying, maybe 100 shares of something, now you can buy 130 shares of something because you can afford it now. However, the one thing to note is there's entrance, and obviously it's a loan, so it's entrance and whatever. So basically, whether you sell it back at a gain or a loss, the entrance and what you borrow goes back to the firm. So that's something to note. Plus, on top of that, if things go way too haywire, so say for example, you're getting something at like $100 a share, and you're borrowing money with that, and then it drops down to say $10 a share, the firm has the right to force this stuff to sell. Same thing goes for shorting. Shorting, you're basically borrowing a stock to buy it. It's very complicated. I don't feel like that this is the right time for me to explain exactly what shorting is. But the thing to note is shorting is when you make money from the market going down, or at least a given company going down. And basically with that is you're borrowing a stock and pushing it back into the market. It's very complicated just explaining that, but I can show you it very easily. So with that being in mind, you're borrowing there, and that's the reason why it requires a margin account to short stocks. So it's very, very, very important to note that. Now, with that being in mind, there might be some other added benefits towards whatever firm you're with. Maybe they'll give you a debit card or something else. But the thing to keep in mind is there tends to be some minimum requirement. Because something like shorting stocks, right? Since you're borrowing the stuff and you got to have a margin account for that, well, you think the stock is going to go down, but what happens? It goes from 100 to $1 billion. You're not going to be able to pay that off, and it's very obvious. So again, the firm is able to sell the stuff and basically get whatever money they can out of that. But the firm's not going to lose any money. Let's put it this way. The firm is not going to lose any money one way or another. So it's not something that you joke around and just fool around with if you're buying extra or selling extra stocks that you own. The fact of the matter, I mean, I dealt with it back in the day, and the fact of the matter is you got to be smart about it. There's just no two ways around it. But the firm, they will make sure they're not losing money. They'll, just like a bank foreclosing on a home, they'll get rid of the assets before it gets too risky for them. But with that in mind, feel free to go ahead and look this one up a little bit more. But if you got any questions, whatever else, then feel free to let me know, and I'll see you next video.